Hello guys, back again with the Al Rasta channel, and this time as always we will be back to talk about the best Donghua series, and of course, it is SwallowedStar. In the previous episode we saw Luo Feng thanking Emperor Zhen Yan after receiving teaching from him for the past 20 years in Primal Chaos City. Along with other geniuses, Luo Feng also finally went to the core region of the original airspace, or Absolute Beginning Secret Realm. Because he experienced slow progress while undergoing training in original airspace, Babata advised Luo Feng to undergo extreme training. And it is also in this timeline that Luo Feng gets a mission from the Virtual Universe Company to go to the Shualuo continent, or the Blood River continent, whose story is in the movie version, guys, which I just watched last night, so I haven't had time to discuss it. It's really fun, just watch it directly. There are many battle scenes. And now we will continue to the weekly episode. Luo Feng, who had previously taken the time to study the records of space-time, immediately got a challenge from Galesy, who still hadn't given up on showing that he was much better than Luo Feng. Since Luo Feng also wanted to know how much of an increase in strength he had obtained, the challenge was accepted. Meeting at the predetermined battle location, many people were watching the two who would fight. Before the fight, Galesy was proud of himself because now he had covered up the physical deficiency that was his biggest weakness. That's why he was so confident that he could defeat Luo Feng with his current abilities. For starters, Galesy unleashed several flying weapons, like spinning flywheels at Luo Feng. While Luo Feng resisted the attacks, Galesy tried to seize the moment to perform illusory attacks on Luo Feng. But unlike their last battle, where Luo Feng was immersed in his illusory world, this time, the Void Pagoda inside Luo Feng could ward off the illusion attacks used by Galesy. After successfully warding off all of his opponent's attacks, Luo Feng finally counterattacked. And without lingering, he directly used the Golden Pillar Stick mode to hit the troublemaking alien. Galesy really can't be considered a rival of this Luo Feng. He talks a lot and is arrogant, but one strike and he's knocked out. Henceforth, Galesy will definitely not mess with Luo Feng again, said Wuka. Luo Feng could feel that the fourth form of Yan Shen's weapon had now progressed since he studied the time-space records. Suddenly, Galesy woke up again. He still wasn't satisfied fighting, it seemed. But since Luo Feng got a call from Shu Xin, he immediately left there without bothering about the duel that was still unclear who the winner would be. Shuxin reported to her husband that the frequency of gravitational waves emitted by the insect brood nest suddenly increased. It was also accompanied by the release of poisonous gas. For now, things had returned to normal, but they still had to continue monitoring and testing, remaining vigilant against any changes. For Luo Feng, the report he received from Shu Xin further urged him not to delay becoming stronger until he could destroy the insect mother nest on Earth with his abilities. Since what Luo Feng needed to do next was to collect volumes from the time-space records, Luo Feng needed to have a lot of points, so he asked Babata if there were any other ways to generate points. The answer was yes, there definitely was. Luo Feng this time went to a place called the Sea of Illusions in the Virtual Universe Network, a place where the willpower of the warriors would be the decider to get through. The deeper the level that is successfully passed, the greater and more numerous the attacks and mental disturbances that the challenger must face. Just to get into it, Luo Feng had to receive quite strong mental pressure, not to mention the challenges. Shortly after Luo Feng entered into the illusory sea area, a crystal man was formed. Unlike the crystal-balled AI Luo Feng had encountered on Earth, that one crystal man was an upgraded version of it. His body formed from crystal also carried waves of disturbance, so he was able to create extremely powerful mental attacks. When the Crystal Man unleashed his first mental attack, Luo Feng's vision began to glitch like a bug in a game. It was due to Luo Feng's brain disorder being affected by the enemy, who was trying to penetrate his sea of consciousness. When Luo Feng was hit by the Crystal Man's attack, he remembered that in the time-space records he had studied, there was also a lesson on how to strengthen mental endurance, so Luo Feng would try to use it now. The heart is like a mirror that can see through falsehood. The heart is also like a knife that can cut through all illusions. The Crystal Man, who managed to immerse Luo Feng in an illusion, with his mental attack next moved forward to deliver a melee attack. But after applying the defense method from the time-space record, Luo Feng was able to destroy the Crystal Man before he was destroyed. The challenges in the Sea of Illusion were divided into islands, and the one Luo Feng was trying to complete was only the first island. There were still later islands. Continuing the challenge, the second island had 2 Crystal Men, the third island had 3 Crystal Men, and so on. Luo Feng completed each challenge while receiving mental attacks given by the Crystal Men. 9 islands later, Luo Feng was finally able to go through in a row. Each island also provided point income for Luo Feng, which now in total, he had earned 51,100 points. However, Luo Feng was advised to recuperate first, because his mentality had been badly affected, said Babata. But because the points Luo Feng needed were still far from enough to buy the next volume. And finally, he chose to continue. At this stage, it seemed that the Crystal Man that appeared, although it was only one, had a larger size. Along with that, Luo Feng received a video call from Xu Xin. At that time, Xu Xin was in a dangerous condition because the poisonous gas that appeared earlier was a prelude for the insects before taking action. And now the insects that had come out of their nests had started to invade. The creatures of the foreign race also attacked civilians, earth warriors, and even Lei Shen. Without lingering, Luo Feng, who was still in the challenge of the Sea of Illusions, left as fast as lightning back towards Earth with the automaton ship. After the airship reached the Milky Way galaxy area, Luo Feng exited and flew towards the Earth, which seemed to be in a state of chaos. But unfortunately, he arrived too late. Luo Feng took Xu Xin's lifeless body while being eaten by insect creatures. And finally, boom! Well, but that's not the original story. Luo Feng was actually under Genjutsu at that time. And because he was hit by the illusion too deeply, he had to fail on the 10th island. Babata wondered what exactly Luo Feng saw in the illusion, because the value of Luo Feng's brainwaves suddenly rose beyond normal limits. Not answering the question, Luo Feng asked Babata if the movement of the brood nest was a sign. So now he couldn't train in a lax manner, as he had to get stronger as quickly as possible. Luo Feng then shifted places, and now he was with Emperor Zhenyan, who was giving advice and told his disciple not to act rashly, because right now the mother nest of insects on Earth was still asleep. If Luo Feng wasn't careful, then he would instead be crushed from overexerting himself. When keeping in mind the threat brought by the mother nest, the continued condition could instead result in Luo Feng's actual destruction. Master Zhenyan also asked Luo Feng not to act rashly and stay focused in his training. Hence here the master acted as a representative trying to give understanding to his disciple. Zhenyan knew how worried Luo Feng was about life in his hometown. Hence he would entrust the location item equipped with the master's power to Luo Feng, where Luo Feng could place these items in the area outside the nest. And when something strange happened, the master could immediately sense it. If that happened, then Zhenyan could also directly teleport to Earth to provide full assistance to Luo Feng. Now that Luo Feng had the help of a super powerful figure, he calmed down and continued to re-enter the heavenly bridge. Luo Feng believed that if he really wanted to overcome the mother lair, then he had to stay in this place and look for the right method to be able to overcome the threat. Up until now, there were 3 people who had reached level 6 of the Heavenly Bridge, namely Bolan, Luo Feng, and Rongjun. Then next, could Luo Feng be the first to successfully cross it? Changbo said there had never been anyone who could cross the 7th bridge before the start of the Primal Region qualification battle. And will Luo Feng surprise him again this time? We'll see. The fight between Luo Feng and his clone started with a clash of melee weapons. The fight that was dominated by the opponent overwhelmed Luo Feng. However, there was a reason why Luo Feng was confident of winning the challenge. Luo Feng had previously purchased the 3rd volume of the time-space records, and now he already had sufficient understanding of the rainstorm image. One of the 9 images contained in the 9 Chaos Monument, turning rain into stars and condensing sword intent to create the world. That summarized the contents of the rainstorm image, which allowed him to instantly create the 6th form of Yanshin's weapon, called the Heavy Sword. A rain of flying swords with high penetration was unleashed towards the opponent, seemingly relentlessly applying pressure, until it finally broke through the strong wall that had been restraining it for a long time. Luo Feng really gave a surprise. He became the first person among the 3 genius warriors to pass the 7th level. Wuka was also amazed by Luo Feng's performance, and currently Luo Feng was ranked 1st and had rivaled Bolan. Well, but the difference in position between the 2 did not last long, because not long after, Bolan also made it through the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge. Then, is this a sign that the 2 geniuses are now equal? So that's the explanation of SwallowedStar in episode 149 this time, guys. Okay, thanks to those of you who have watched until the end, and don't forget to support us by subscribe, like, and comment. Final word from me. Bye.